So let's talk about a job. Not a career you dream about, but the kind you fall into when every other door has slammed shut. A job where your survival is a zero-sum game, and the market dictates all the rules. Well, that's the world Machado de Assis throws us into with his brutal story, Father Against Mother. Yeah, Machado de Assis, he doesn't really do sentimentality. He lays it all out, cold and precise, right from the get-go. This isn't just a story. It's a diagnosis of a society that's fundamentally sick, one built on a foundation of casual, everyday cruelty. And you can forget about good versus evil. Machado frames the profession at the center of this story, slave catching, as something, well, way more chilling. He calls it a vocation, a career path for men with no trade, no skills, and absolutely zero other options. The story itself gives us the perfect definition, an instrument of property. Think about that. This wasn't a job you took because you were ambitious or good at something. No, it was the job you took when you were good at nothing. It was born from poverty, incompetence, and the grim need to enforce the system's order. You're not a hero, you're just a tool. And the way Machado describes the tools of this trade, it's just chillingly mundane. Iron collars, iron shackles, tin masks to stop a person from even getting a drink of water. These things weren't, hidden away. No, they were commodities, just hanging in shop windows, ready to be purchased. The grotesque, made commercial. So, this cold, brutal logic of the system, it's about to get personal. And that brings us to our main guy, Candido Neves. He's a man whose own personal crisis is about to push him right to the edge. He's about to find out the true market price of a child. You've got to understand, there's this huge gap between the man Candido wants to be and the man he actually is. He's got pride, but he can't find a job. He's got ambition, but he's just sinking in debt. The story even has a word for his condition, kaipordismo. It's like being cursed with permanent, inescapable bad luck. He's not a monster. He's just failing. And just when you think things can't get any worse, of course they do. A new baby arrives. When your life is already hanging by a thread, a child isn't a blessing. It's an economic impossibility. And this is what pushes him into this terrible moral calculus. And look, the pressure is real, and it's immediate. First up, the debt. They're 3 months behind on rent. 3 months, and they've got nothing. And then there's the deadline. They have 5 days. Just 5 days before they're literally kicked out onto the street. I mean, the walls are just closing in. So what's the solution? Well, Aunt Monica comes along with the socially acceptable answer, which is, of course, utterly brutal. Take the child to the foundling wheel, the Rota dos Injetados. It's literally a revolving door for unwanted kids, a perfect machine for systemic apathy. Can't afford your baby? Hey, the state has a little chute for that. And all of this boils down to the single, most chilling question in the entire story. In a world where every single thing has a price, when you have absolutely nothing left, what is a child worth? And from the market's point of view, the answer is just brutally simple: a liability. That calculation, well, it brings us right to the climax of the story. But this isn't some heroic turning point, no. This is a brutal transaction, a desperate business deal made just to balance the books on his own survival. And what happens next plays out with the cold, dead logic of an invoice. Candido sees his target, an escaped slave named Arminda, and in a moment of pure transactional thinking, he literally swaps his own infant, leaves him with a pharmacist, just so he can go after his prize. He catches her, ties her up, and just completely ignores her pleas as he drags her back to her owner. It's just business. And in this moment, you see the human stakes, just stripped bare. She's a mother appealing to a father. Armanda is begging, offering up the only thing she has left, her own body, her own future servitude, all to save her child. She's trying to connect on the one level they should share. But the thing is, Candido, he can't afford humanity. His response is the pure, unadulterated voice of economic determinism. He's not being cruel just for the sake of it. He's applying the pitiless logic of the system. In his world, her pregnancy isn't a miracle, it's just a bad business decision. So what you have here is a perfect zero-sum game. Candido has to capture a mother to save his child. Arminda has to plead with the father to save hers. For one family to make it, another one has to be destroyed.
The system just doesn't allow for any other outcome. It's designed that way.
And that, right there, brings us to the final verdict. See, Machado's critique isn't really about one man's bad choice. It's about a society that chains everyone, free or not, with poverty's own iron collar.
So what does he get for all this? 100,000 reis. That's his reward. The price he's paid for a job well done, for returning a piece of property.
But let's be real about what that money is. It's not just a payment. It is the price of one child's future, paid for with the life of another. Because, of course, this transaction has one last devastating entry on the ledger. Back in the master's hallway, Arminda, weakened and brutalized from the struggle, suffers a miscarriage. The asset is returned, but it's damaged. A life is wiped out to pay Candido's debt. And then comes what might be the single most chilling line in the entire story. As Candido holds his own son, now safe, his heart rationalizes the whole horrific event with one simple, brutal thought. Not all children make it. He has fully 100% internalized the system's logic. He's not just a victim of it anymore. He's a believer. And right there, that's Machado's entire argument laid bare. In a society that's all about the market, poverty, well, it's just another kind of slavery. Candido's so-called freedom, it was a complete illusion. His choices were just as trapped by economic necessity as Arminda's were by actual physical chains. So that leaves us and you with one last, really unsettling question. In a market that is fundamentally built on buying and selling human lives, what is the real ultimate cost of survival?